So I want to show everybody how to make a quick homemade salsa that is also low sodium and vegan. If you are like me and you have high blood pressure, salsa is really one of those luxury items that you kind of have to plan into your diet if you really want to enjoy. So, because who doesn't love chips and salsa, right? So this is really, really simple. I usually make this with leftover ingredients that I have after I've made something else. So you're going to start with about 3/4 of a can of no salt added tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of chopped jalapeno, and I buy these pre-chopped and include the liquid. Now these do have some sodium. I believe these have about 250 milligrams of sodium altogether. Compare that to about the same per tablespoon of store-bought salsa. Then also optional, depending on what you need, is some kosher salt. I just put a pinch or two. It makes a little bit of difference. It doesn't add that much sodium. Then also you're going to want about 1/4 of an onion. The amount of onion is up to you. I use about 1/4 of a medium size or half a small onion. And totally up to you. Use more, use less. I'm also going to be using some minced garlic. Now this is the minced garlic in a jar. You can use fresh garlic for this. I have before. It's not that bad, but it does slightly overpower the dish. So just understand that. But if you like garlic, then go for it. So I'm going to start by, generally you want to get a pretty fine dice here. That's pretty good. Nice little bite-sized pieces. If you want to, just chop through it a few more times. Break up some of those bigger pieces. And then, how you do this is up to you. What I tend to do is put, I don't know, a little over 1/4 to half of the onions into the tomatoes. And then I take the stick mixer and mix it. Now obviously, depending on how thick you want your salsa or how chunky you want it, it's going to depend on how much you use the stick mixer. But I like to just give it a couple pulses. Okay, then the rest of the onion just goes straight into the jar. And this jar is just a jar it's a 16-ounce jar from the store-bought salsa. I just find it easier to just make it straight into the jar. Okay, and then, like I said, I like to add just a couple pinches of salt. Again, you're adding some sodium there, but it's nothing compared to store-bought. Okay, then add your jalapenos. And that jalapeno juice, to me, is really what makes this taste like store-bought salsa. And again, you can, if you want to make this even more low sodium, you can skip the salt and you can skip the jarred jalapenos. Just use fresh jalapenos. But obviously fresh is probably going to be hotter. Then I'm going to throw in this garlic. And also, if you do use fresh, I would recommend adding a little bit of maybe some apple cider vinegar, something like that, to give it a little bit of a vinegar punch. Otherwise, it's just going to taste like tomatoes. That jalapeno juice is primarily vinegar, so it works well. And then just stir it up. And you can eat this right away. In fact, I usually do. But it does taste better after about a day in the refrigerator. So So I'm just going to take a small taste. It's pretty good, but it does need a tiny bit more salt. Then I think we'll be good. Yep. And that's it. It's really easy to make. It's really cheap. I usually make this with leftover ingredients. And honestly, to me, it tastes just as good as the stuff I buy in the store. Pair it with some low sodium tortilla chips, lightly, I think they call them lightly salted. Put it on some scrambled eggs and omelet. It's pretty hard to beat. And that is it for today. Thanks, everybody. But these 2 tablespoons, I believe, have about 250 milligrams of sodium in entirety.